Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us for our regular 6 p.m. Pacific time discussion and talk and educational information about U.S. immigration law, where I take your questions live on general issues. We can't go into case-specific stuff, but we're going to talk about what's going on and take the questions as they come to the best extent possible. If you're interested in a fiance marriage case, which is the focus of my firm, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free guide, 40 plus pages, breaking down every step of the way. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And download the ebook. You'll be blown away at the amount of free information that's out there. You'll be, wow, this guy actually gave it all like this. So I hope you enjoy it. It's the best out there. I really believe that. And so with that, let's get it started. Thought I'd talk about a little bit what happened today and stuff. This morning I went to a USCIS adjustment of status interview, and in Los Angeles, where I'm headquartered, they're trying to really get these done, so we're getting crazy fast timelines for adjustment of status of 4 to 6 months many times, and this one was 6 months. But what was weird about it is it was a case where a U.S. citizen filed for adjustment of status and all that. Well, the foreign national files for adjustment of status, so based on a U.S. citizen child. And these normally do not have interviews, but they had scheduled one for this couple, these two parents. So we woke up 5 o'clock in the morning, went over there and did the interview. Nothing special. There's no reason really to have an interview for these people. They usually don't, but they were approved essentially on the spot. As soon as we walked out, we got the approval notice online. I saw it happen. And then another case, removal of conditions, I-751, had been pending for a year and a couple months. They scheduled an interview for them too. They got approved within 20, 30 minutes. They didn't need an interview either. So it's really inconsistent of when they're going to do these interview waivers or not for adjustment of status, for removal of conditions. So you never know, but these are possible, and sometimes they force you to come to interview. This is how it happens. There's a bunch of more stuff that popped in my head today as issues and stuff were happening that we'll discuss as we're going along. What happens at USCIS when my priority date is current? When your case is current, they have a folder they put for their, on each month, and they see your month is current. They pull it out, and if you have an adjustment of status case pending, they'll work on approving it. But I don't have enough information about what's going on with your case, where you're at. Is it just that you filed an I-130, or are you saying current according to the final action date or the date of filing? Is it I-140 employer-based? There's just not enough information to be able to answer that. What are the documents required to attach for an I-130 for spouse? So it really depends on your case. Obviously, you need to show that the U.S. spouse has either a green card or citizenship. You also need to show marriage certificate if you're married. Obviously, I-130 for spouse, you're married. Any previous divorce certificates, any name changes or anything like that as well. And then you go into the bona fides. And this is all in my ebook. If you go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, that's www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. I go over a lot of this, but essentially it's the documents you need to include to show your relationship is real, in addition to Form I-130A as well that you need to put. So what happens is, you get kind of dive in relationships. Some people have property together, some people have kids together, some people have joint travel together, some people have long communication records they could download, photos together, letters from family and friends attesting to the reality of their relationship. You might have utility bills together, bank accounts, credit cards. It just goes on and on. It really depends on your situation. I have couples that have pets together. We give their vet records, veterinarian records showing both their names are listed. I had one couple went to Disneyland and bought annual passes, and to show they bought the annual passes together and it has their names, we included that too. So it really depends on your unique case and your relationship as to what documents you need to bring. I can't answer that without knowing your case, so this is a general educational answer I could give, but you should really consult with an attorney and walk you through it just to be safe. That's probably the best route to do it, but thank you for your question, Fatima. Abdullah Shah, I think your regulars asked, what should I do if my case is out of processing times? You need to contact USCIS if it's with USCIS, say what's going on, or with the agency. If they don't give you a proper response, maybe contact your local congressperson. And then if that doesn't work, then maybe contact the USCIS ombudsman for help. But I need to know more details about your case. It might be a reason it's out of processing time. You might have some peculiar issues. And so we need to catch that first instead of pushing the government to make a decision, because they might just deny you. Maybe they're trying to think about how to help you because your case has issues. But if you keep pushing them, they're like, well, if you keep pushing us, we'll just deny it. So before you do any of this stuff, really talk with the lawyer to analyze what's going on with the case. Final route sometimes is to just file a lawsuit and sue the government. So all these are open to you, but whether they're appropriate or not, I can't say because I don't know your individual case, but thank you for your question. I became documentarily qualified, and actually they said they're changing the name from documentary qualified to documentary complete from next month or so. The NBC said that. But anyways, I got qualified on April 30th, 2020, and my interview is at the end of this month. F2A, Bridgetown Embassy. Where is Bridgetown? I'm not sure. My second anniversary is December 10th. I plan to enter around December 14th. I will get a 2-year or 10-year. So let me back up and explain what this is. This person is married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder. They're going to get their embassy interview. Interview is going to happen about around the time they've been married for 1.5 years. If they're approved and the person is able to enter the United States after the 2-year anniversary of their marriage, instead of getting a 2-year conditional green card, which requires another application later on and to prove registration is real, if they enter after the 2-year anniversary mark, then they'll be issued a 10-year green card, which will not require them to apply for another application proving their relationship is real. So it's a great strategy if you could pull it off to enter the United States after the 2-year mark if your visa validity is still valid, which is something you gotta be careful if you want to play that game. It's a great idea to do it. Sometimes they make a mistake and still send you a 2-year green card. So if you do pass the 2-year anniversary, just let them know that, hey, you're making a mistake. I should be getting a 10-year green card if they don't give it to you automatically. And that should take care of things. Hopefully it works. And congrats on getting an interview. It's been hard for a lot of people. If there's an error and they accidentally give you a 10-year green card instead of a 2-year green card, the error correction is on you to fix. So what you have to do is file the form I-90 based on USCIS error. I-90 is for a green card renewal to get the new correct version of it. You could just wait to the 2-year mark and file form I-751 with a 10-year green card. That's possible too. Just keep an eye out on when your green card would expire 2 years from admission, the admission date listed, so you don't do a late filing. So you can either file I-90 now or just wait for your I-751 removal of conditions time and then file the green card, all that kind of stuff. So that's a general answer, but there's some nuances. That's why I kind of brushed it off at the end because I need to explain more detail to fit what your issues are. And it's just too much detail for a general program, educational program like this. Horam asks, my brother is going to apply for citizenship, but by mistake he registered to vote at a local county. This is a really serious issue. They said they're going to get a little more lenient on it, but there's risks involved. So as a only person who can register to vote is a U.S. citizen. If you're not, it's potentially a violation. I remember I had one client who registered to vote by accident and filed for citizenship and was denied. Luckily, they didn't do an NTA, notice of appear, send him to court for deportation for doing that. Came to me, we undid it, so we went to DMV and said, wait, let's back it up. Now, in his case, they accidentally registered him twice at the DMV and at his university. It was obvious that they had filled out some paperwork. We were able to argue it wasn't him, and the officer was cool with it and approved the case. I need to know exactly what happened, but registering to vote, they're trying to make it more leniently. They just updated the policy manual on this about a couple weeks ago, but I'd have to really sit down and look what's going on. There's risks involved. But first of all, you just want to undo it and ask for records of how registration happened. And as long as he didn't vote, there's a more likely chance that he'll be okay. But a lot of it is going to depend on the person that reviews the case. But also, I'm not as well versed in the new regulation shakeup that they did on this particular issue a couple weeks back. I haven't thought I threw in different fact patterns. So to give an exact answer, I need to have a consultation with them. It's not typically a case I handle anymore. Maybe someone local in the city that they live in, a lawyer should handle it so they could come with your brother to his naturalization interview and that way defend his interests at the interview. But that's just a heads up on stuff of what you probably will be doing is undoing the registration and finding the explanation of why this error happened and hiring a local attorney to come with you that's qualified to the local field office. But thank you for your question. I'm sorry that happened. Mustafa asks, can you speak about an I-130 and I-45 joint filing and online filing? Well, when you say can you speak, I have an ebook that's 40 pages and I have another one I wrote for lawyers 100+ pages. So you got to be very specific about joint filing. Now, it's too general a question, I can't answer that. When you talk about online filing, I generally don't do online filing. You could file an I-130 online, but you're going to have to file the I-485 by paper. I and most immigration attorneys do not file cases online. We mail it to USCIS. Online filing is typically something done by self-filers, but some lawyers do file online. That's as much I could talk about here without more specificity to your question. Hashim asks, my wife's case, I-130, is in process. We have a newborn baby back home. Should I notify USCIS I am a citizen? Well, Hashim, there's a lot of information I need to know on this. So I don't know if your child will automatically get citizenship based on you, because I don't know about your personal residential history, where you've been living at what years, and that's a requirement for you to be able to transfer citizenship to your child. So I need to know more information about your history. So, schedule a private consultation. And then if the child could get citizenship automatically, then got to go to the local U.S. embassy and request a consular record of birth abroad, CRBA. That would be a really important thing to do, and get their passport. If they're not able to get citizenship, you'd have to file. They have rules where potentially the child could come in with their mother, but I'm not sure if that works for immediate relative case. You may need to file a separate green card petition for the newborn child if they're not automatically considered a citizen, but I would need to recheck the rules on this. This is not a scenario that happens often, so I'd have to double check the laws on it to see what's appropriate. So I can't give any more exact guidance than the information I gave, but Hamish, thank you, and congratulations on having a baby. That's wonderful news. I'm going to ask, how long does it take for USCIS to cash checks presently? It depends on the case. Some cases it takes 2 or 3 days. Some cases it takes 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So there's like 5 different lockbox locations, 1,000 different employees handling the checks. Each one can do them differently. So that's how that works. Yeah. Miranda asks, can I travel out of a country if my green card is going to expire in January during the 90 days? As long as we are back before it expires, we'll have to file I-485 removal conditions. If your green card is valid, then yeah, you could come back with that, even if it's during the 90 days before expiration. But it's risky. You might go outside and you can't get a plane because of the pandemic, and you're stuck outside, and your green card expires way outside. It's not something you want to do. What you really want to do is time it out, probably hire a lawyer so that you can file the I-751 and get a receipt in time, or at least have it mailed to you if needed afterwards. So plan it out properly, get a lawyer, and they can help you out with that to plan it out. But thank you for your question, Miranda. Sam asks, hi, if my conditional green card expired at the end of November, can I send my I-751 package and travel and come back to the US before my conditional green card expired by 3 weeks? Should I type NA in every blank? I'll start at the end. The NA at every blank thing, it's not required. It might be good practice to do that, but it's not a requirement. I mean, in the form, in the instructions, it says it is, but in practice, other than for 2 types of cases during President Trump's administration, they don't enforce that. But your conditional green card expired in November. Can you travel before it expires? Yeah, you can. It's risky if you don't come back in time. As I mentioned in the previous question that was similar, why not just renew it and make sure you get a receipt, or at least have a receipt mailed to you or something like that. You could time this out instead of waiting for the last second. Just time it out properly. It's already November. I mean, you got to plan this out. That's why you have lawyers. You start early, and so you avoid all this kind of stuff. But it's up to you how much risk you want to take on. BB asks, I'm still expecting to go to my interview, last one for 10 years green card. They have extended my green card with I-757 notice. My question will be, what if my I-797 expires? What to do? I don't know if they're going to have you go to green card, but once you do, well, so many removal of conditions questions today. It's going to be a long clip with all of these. But once you do removal of conditions, you file it, you get a receipt notice from I-797 is the general name they have for receipt notices. And what you'll get is, nowadays, is a 2-year automatic extension. It used to be a year, then went to 1.5 years. Just recently, they still give you a full 2 years. But if your case is not decided by the time the automatic extension is expired on that receipt notice, then you'll be fine. You can just hang out, do what you do. But if you need proof for work authorization, you need proof for travel, you need to schedule an InfoPass appointment with your local USCIS office, which is not easy nowadays. And go there and say, explain the reason why you need a green card stamp, an ADIT stamp, ADIT stamp, in your passport to prove you're a green card holder. And they'll stamp it there for 3, 6, 9 months, a year, or something like that. They may take your existing green card away from you. And that'll hold you over until the decision is made on the removal of conditions. And if it's possible to look into citizenship, you should look into that as well. That might speed things up. Mustafa asks, I-130 and I-485, family member, brother, more than 30 year undocumented, no status. I'm the petitioner. Filing online, need advice? Well, I'm glad you asked. You cannot file for your brother. You would have led to his removal. If someone has been undocumented with no status, unless they're married to a U.S. citizen, they're a parent of a U.S. citizen that's 21 years or older, or a minor child of a U.S. citizen, and they enter the U.S. lawfully, then they're not going to be able to adjust status in the United States. So your case would just get denied. Bad move. Now, there may be other exceptions. Something called 245I may be exception. They may have a thing called TPS, which has gotten more restrictive on being able to do anything. But I gotta know if they enter unlawfully and then went out of status, or enter with no permission. There's too many factors I have to know. But the quick thing is, stop immediately what you're doing. Just talk with a lawyer in private. You're gonna get yourself a lot of trouble by moving forward the way you are. Sam asks, Mr. John, thank you. Perhaps can I send my package I-751 and travel and come back before my conditional expires? Yeah, maybe. In case something happens, my wife could handle the extension for me. Yeah, it's the thing. If you file it and you go and something happens, you're staying longer, once you get the receipt, your wife could mail it to you and you have that in hand. So that's a really good decision way to go about it. Yeah, exactly. You gotta just plan it out. My cat says, that's a long name. My fiance got denied entry on ESTA at US Customs in his country, and it got taken away. Yeah, that's a real serious situation. So they probably thought, because you're engaged, that your fiance is coming to stay in the United States, get married, and file for a green card. Typical scenario, they're going to cancel the ESTA, and they'll have to get a tourist visa or something, which will probably get denied as well. If you're engaged, you might as well just get a fiance or marriage visa case. Download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card at marriageimmigrationlaw.com for more information about that. But what you have to be mindful for is to get a transcript of the communication that happened with your fiance and CBP, the people that denied him. I'm guessing if they denied him outside the United States in his country, they're either from Canada, UAE, Ireland, and maybe one or two more places that have what are called pre-clearance centers. But you want to make sure is that even though they deny them entry, they didn't accuse them of fraud or misrepresentation. If they did, you're going to have to do a bunch of extra steps to be able to fix this situation by filing a 601A waiver, or 601 waiver, I apologize. So it just got really messy. You really need to talk with an attorney. But first things first, you got to get that transcript to see what accusations are made of them. Sometimes the transcript of the communication of the denying officer with your fiance will not be clear. You may need to contact the port, get more information just to confirm, maybe do a FOIA request, just see exactly what happened and if they accuse them of misrepresentation or fraud, which has very serious consequences, potentially a 5 or 10-year bar to entry, if just on any regular trip, but a lifetime ban as well unless you get that way. Very serious consequences. Well, thank you for your question. I'm sorry to hear that. Miranda asks, what happens if you file to remove your conditions and you get a biometric appointment notice while you're in a different country? Well, historically you would just miss it and they would just reschedule a new one. About 2 months ago, they updated the biometric rules where they're like, if you miss an appointment, we may just deny your case. It's really harsh. I doubt they're going to do that, but they can. I'm not sure. There's reasons why they changed it up like this. So what you have to do, if you think you're going to miss it, as soon as possible, once you get the appointment notice, call USCIS, the 1-800 number, let them know you're outside US and you can't make it. And hopefully they'll automatically reschedule it. They may reschedule it for a month later. They may schedule it for 8 months later. So fortunately, because of the situation, it's going to be really difficult timing it out. Hopefully you're just here, but if you're outside, you got to jump through a bunch of hoops and hope for the best. They made this immigration system extra complicated and extra annoying so that even if you just want to live your life, you got to go through some torture before you get what you need. That's just the reality of it. That's it. I want to say something fun or funny, but it's just torture for no reason. They could easily fix this stuff up. It should be easy, but it's not. And that's why having a lawyer kind of helps and walk you through it and stuff. But hopefully it just works well. Feed Your Faith asks, hoping this message finds you well. Thank you. You as well. I wanted to ask about when the moment comes, what are the documents I should take to the interview for a marriage-based green card? Thanks in advance. So Feed Your Faith, this is really dependent on your individual case. Now you obviously have to bring your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, and I talked about this earlier with another question, your divorce certificate, but then you bring proof of relationship stuff, and it really depends on your individual relationship and what you have. So you can catch the video where I talk about the details of this, or download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide where I give examples, but it really is ways to prove your relationship is real through documentation, and so it depends on you and your spouse and what's going on there. Mustafa asks, if you have an illegal family member leaving eligibly in state, I think you're saying living illegal in state, paying tax, and his brother is a U.S. citizen, he can't file for adjustment of status. Yeah, paying taxes, but none of that makes any sense. A lot of people contact me and say, I pay taxes. It makes zero, other than for one small thing for cancellation removal in court, it makes no difference that your brother is paying taxes. They're here illegally or unauthorized, and that's a really serious issue. So your brother will not be able to adjust status through you unless some exceptions exist, and I'd have to dive in deep to see what's going on there. But that's about it. I'm sorry to tell you that, but they're paying taxes and stuff doesn't make a difference for what you're trying to do. Ron asks, how do you get a hold of USCIS on the 1-800 number? I can never get a hold of an actual representative. We got press certain different buttons, ask for different things until you get a hold of somebody. They keep redoing it to make it more and more impossible to get a hold of someone. And I was talking to someone earlier, it might have been your case, about the biometrics appointment. And so in that case, it's annoying. It's a mess. The 1-800 number, they don't answer the call. We have a new, I think, director of USCIS, and she posted on her Twitter account, this week is the week of service, and we want to serve you. And I didn't want to be a troll, so I didn't say anything. I'm like, well, if you want service, answer the 1-800 number. It's crazy. And if I'm able to get through to a system, it's a 1 hour, 2 hour wait of me on the phone waiting to talk with someone on the 1-800 number for USCIS. And then once they finally get a hold of someone, the last time I called, we were on the phone for 20 minutes trying to do an expedite. Then as soon as she came to finish it up, their call hung up on me. I waited 2 hours, talked with all this time, complete waste of time. And it's sad. It's just sad. But Miranda, you just got to play the game and see what happens. Maybe hire attorney help you or something like that. There's no good answers because they made the system, it seemed at this point, almost intentional so that they don't have to do anything. And now I get to back that a little bit. We've been getting USCIS case approved really fast. I've had a really wonderful, today I had 2 officers do interviews that were really great. I don't really want to disparage them like that. I think it's more of a systematic thing than an individual officer thing. It's just the system's a mess. We have 4 years of Trump that threw every wrench he could into the system to destroy it from inside. There's funding issues. There's management issues, and we have political management coming and going, so it's a mess, and it's not necessarily the employee's fault. It's just the whole system is badly designed and doesn't get attention. So this is what we're dealing with. People are like, oh, I don't want to pay, I could do an adjustment of status myself, I can do my decisions myself. I understand that you can, a lot of people do, and it's successful, but the whole point is to have a relationship with the attorney so they know your case, so when you have a question, they can properly answer it. I don't mean to be harsh on you, but this is what it is. And I was talking to somebody today, I'm like, you're buying a relationship. Now, not every attorney's like this. Many attorneys are transactional and don't care about you and stuff, but my clients know that I know them, and we'll talk, and they'll call me. I have clients from 5 years ago. I'm talking 5 years, and I'll remember, oh yeah, how's your job doing? How's your wife doing? You're having a kid. How old are they now? Like all this kind of stuff. And so when they ask a question, I know the answers, but when you ask these kind of cold questions, I get people calling me on my phone, which I stopped picking up many months ago, and ask me this, I'm like, I can't answer these questions because there's just not enough information. And really just my point is, that's why it's so good to have an individual relationship with an immigration attorney, so you have these questions answered, so you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. You just have to worry, it's discretion when you're entering the United States, but it could at least take away the big worries. Okay, your case like this, okay, most likely it won't, or we can try to fix it up. Don't worry about it, go have a good trip. But I wouldn't be able to answer that here based on the limited info and not having an attorney-client relationship with you to give this kind of individual advice. Thank you everyone for joining. Please come back again next week, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll be here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, I don't do Twitter, TikTok, that has a T in there, and LinkedIn for John Khosravi. Thank you everyone, God bless, be safe, bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed this educational video. We have a second channel with much more information as well at JQK Immigration Clips. Please check that out. Also, you'll find our social media site has a lot more videos, images, and information about the U.S. immigration process. Please check those out on the various social media websites.